Welcome everyone to today's webcast where we will cover all things DevOps SRE. Now, before we move on with the presentation, I'd like to introduce our panel for today. First, we have Dodi, who is the Chief Technology Officer at iVedha. And next, we have Gagan, who is one of the core SRE engineers at iVedha. Now, Dodi and Gagan, before we dive into today's topic, why don't you guys give a brief introduction of iVedha?
Yeah, thanks, Vish. Thanks for having us. So I'll do a quick intro of iVedha. I know when we talk about the different types of waves of technology, back in 2001, when we first started, iVedha was focusing more as a system integrator. So doing a lot of that different types of integration for different products. Uh, we started looking at that specific time some of the big software companies, um, and then from then on we progress around 2011 to start looking at becoming more of a cloud solution provider side. That's when we started looking at as we transitioned from virtualization, from the bare metals of the world virtualization, to different cloud business models. So we started looking at becoming part of the Microsoft, AWS, and GCP, just to get that experience of all the public clouds. But at the same time, we're able to build our own private cloud hosting. That's back when there's no public cloud providers in Canada. We started doing it ourselves, and we have a select few customers that are running as we speak. But what we're here to talk about is basically the next generation, the next wave. When you started seeing that, it's not focusing a lot more on the product itself or the solutions. It's talk about bringing how we bring value through by providing different types of innovation. Um, it's not through invention. It's a lot more in the innovating part that we tackle and we focus on. That's where we started bringing the guys like Gagan and all the other teams that we have, building up that core team so that we can continue providing that the value for our customers. And what we're going to see is I'm going to transition off to Vish so that we can start with the next topic.
Great, thank you, Dodi. So I guess the big topic for today is site reliability engineering. So why don't we dive into our first question? So before we dive deeper into today's topic, what exactly is site reliability engineering?
Gagan, you want to answer that first, or you want me to do it?
I can do that.
Okay.
Thanks for having me, Vish. So, as the role suggests, right, as the name suggests, so site reliability engineer, his role is to do the production support and the continuous improvement of the production systems and the reliability of systems based on his own experience. But it's not only the production support part. It also involves a constant feed to the developers how the production system stability can be improved, and for example, how pipelines can be improved, how pipelines can be like made more robust, so less number of deployments fail in production and make the system more stable. So the role is very wide, and based on our experience, what we have seen is it's that it has to expand across all the verticals within the company so that so the site reliability engineers can provide the feedback to each level in the organization and thus improving the stability of the production systems. So
Great.
Yeah,
back to you,
and
Yavish.
what
Do you
what
want
Gagan
to
was
add
actually
anything?
to to add to Gagan, if you look at how Google is coining it, right? If you treat operations as a software problem, I know when we started looking at the different types of platforms out there, with all the hype and all the trends going into microservices, Kubernetes, different tool sets for different purposes, and with the REST API and API type of integration, we started to look at how we focus more on the reliability of the services, but at the same time balancing the deployment side, so innovation and reliability. what I mentioned from my prior interview and all day DevOps.
Great. I think you both explained that topic pretty well. So I guess we can move on to our second question for today. I'm sure there are challenges that you guys face within this field. So what are the current DevOps challenges that many IT organizations might face in today's landscape?
I can take that. So starting from all the basic challenges, right? Let's say developer onboarding with all the new hybrid approaches now with people, more and more people working from home. Onboarding new developers is a big problem because each developer or each person who is setting up his own computer sets up in a different way. He writes the code on his own computer and doesn't work in some of the production like environments. So this is one of the biggest problem which we internally faced in ITRA as well. And then again, so managing the development environments, that's also another problem. And then the development of software itself, if it is not developed in a production like environment, there are certain challenges, there are certain things which gets missed and gets discovered at a very later stage. Of course, these can be fixed, but it cause everyone to waste a lot of time, and which causes product cycle to be pushed by a couple of days or a couple of weeks, depending on what is discovered at the last moment. So these are the like three major problems which we internally found. There are many more, but these are the three major category of problems I can say which we found with our experience in ITRA.
Yeah, I would say and I think that's one of the reasons why we took this on. From my previous interview as well, looking at how do we actually tackle or actually solve some of these things head on is by actually living it. And the three main things what Gagan is mentioning, there's a lot of things that's got to do with process and environmental, right? And I think everybody faces the same issues. I think it all falls down to some of the key major things, which is going to be transitioning to the next slide. But one of our main key issues too is a proper onboarding process, where not so much on the process itself, but by the way we provide those environments to our developers. Um, Nowadays, it's a continuous improvement cycle, so we're trying to continuously improve some of these the tools that's going to be used, how we actually streamline all of these processes as we scale up um, with more team and more people in the company and organization.
And also to like add more to Dodi's point, right? Because we have been already implementing this at ITRA. What we have realized is that output of a developer should be quality code, while not worrying about any deployment things or spending their valuable time on how to maintain the infrastructure. No, developer need not spend time on that. Developer need not spend time on deployment pipelines or figuring out the infrastructure level issues. So if like developer has the approach that his output should be quality code, so this makes like this make developer perform very good in the sense that he's able to learn more, able to innovate more while not worrying about the underlying infrastructure.
Yeah, I like that segue. I mean, looking at that shared responsibility, right? There's certain roles that developers and operators actually there's some transition points there, and I think that's where the challenges happen, is transitioning that part of the role. While it's a shared responsibility, there's areas that I'm sure if you look at a basketball team or any sports team, every single one of them have their own positions, and based on those positions, when they transition or the objective is to score a basket or score a field goal, all of them, as long as they're working together on a cross-functional basis, that's when you start looking at the difference between somebody's making it in the playoffs or some teams that are not going to make it in the playoffs. But going back to the site reliability engineering part here, I think it goes to the same way. Right? You have the dev environment, and you have multiple different pieces here. But tell me, Gagan, how what's the importance of having that best practice, the standards, and when do you draw the line between, hey, you know what? So you get your common standards today, but what happens if you wanted to dabble into some experimentation to improve such a process?
It's a very good question, Dodi. So I'll answer it in two parts. First part is how it benefited us, like how it solved the challenge for us, which was onboarding the developers. When we create this development environments, these are all production like development environments. These are of course small scale of production, but these are very production like. So developers don't miss nitty gritty details. For example, they want to integrate with Vault, right? They We don't want them spending time to install Vault on their computer. No, that doesn't make sense. So all these environments, they already have all the features which developer need, and that's the reason they are able to now do uh, get to the end state without a bug free code. So this is one part of it. Then second is, with this approach, right, we are able to create like repeatable development environments. So anyone who wants to spin up a development environment, he just goes to a portal and gets his own development environment. It takes couple of seconds rather than couple of hours. So it has, after we were done with this, we found that this has multiple use cases and multiple benefits rather than just, okay, because the way we started is of course from the learning, right? We were learning on the way, in all the process we were learning along together with the developers. Of course there were challenges, yes, they were all fixed, and we are at a stage now where we have a process to new developers joining, he gets his development environment in couple of seconds. That's the stage we are at right now.
Nice, that's good. So it all goes back to this picture, right? And that's a segue. If you look at this picture, like if you believe on having a solid core foundation, there's a lot of things that you have to look for. It's not just for the best practices. Again, that could be, hey, what happens if you're actually not don't have the enough process or culture where you grow and scale your team. This could actually be an ugly picture, or a different result in this case. But putting this picture on, if you look at teams working together, different types of tool sets that they're using, some of them are using different sets, different areas, but they know they have one goal, is to be able to get a proper foundation, and at the same time, team building and team working together, they can build a solid foundation, a solid house. Right? Just wanted to put it there as part of this this
Great.
piece.
So I guess
Fish?
yeah. So both Dodi and Gagan, you both outlined some core challenges that many IT companies face, especially in the DevOps field. So
Having issues on the network
so how
connectivity.
exactly is iVedha tackling these challenges that you guys are seeing?
Well, I think we got into IT issue.
Yeah, no, it's onto an IT issue.
Yeah, looks like Dodi is having some connection problems.
Oh, we were so close.
Yeah. We were talking about the problems, and here's the problem.
Oh man,
Speaking of real world examples,
RJ, we got our halftime show. We got our halftime show. RJ here. Oh, man. Does he know that? Oh,
Oh, here's Dodi.
Dodi, you missed the halftime show.
Oh, I did. I think there was a network issue on my side.
Okay.
Okay, so
your connection.
I'm back in.
Great.
Okay, 1 second.
So
Sorry, hold on a second. I think that's better.
So, Dodi and Gagan, you both, outlined some key issues and challenges that many IT firms face in the DevOps field. So, How exactly is iVedha tackling these challenges, and what makes iVedha different?
Yeah, I think there's. I can take this on for the first part, Gagan. Like, I think there's about two or three different types of things that we look for. I think one of them is really looking at that team culture. I know it's not a perfect setting at all times. There is going to be, or we are been looking at challenges, especially with the COVID type of crisis that we're having today, or epidemic. Uh, we are seeing some challenges on the remote side. However, because we've always been or we always have the ability for our team to log in remotely, it wasn't so much of a harder impact. Uh, I think the next piece on improving before we're looking at that improvement, some of the other challenges that we face is basically the technology stack is evolving at a rapid pace than the actual people and process. Meaning there's not enough of people that has enough experience to actually deal with a lot of these technologies. So we're always looking at that improvement or options. And I know we're going to be actively building our meetups again. So part of this is to actually do our internal training, but at the same time, welcome and share that training platform and our process and our models to the community. That's one part. I know, Gagan, you guys are doing something very interesting on productizing some solutions. I think that's partially part of the API management project that you guys are dealing with. Maybe you can touch base a little bit about that.
Yeah, we can do that. So basically, what we are trying to do is, with our experience with different API gateways, we have put a set of best practices on what works for different types of companies. So there are, of course, one thing can work for a medium scale company, and it will not work for a large scale company. So what we have done is we have created a set of best practices based on each category of companies or financial institution or different type of institutions. So we have created a set of guidelines, and what we are doing right now is prototyping all this all our experience into a product, which will be a turnkey solution for anyone to install a API gateway in their organization. So without worrying about what should be done, they should be, or sorry, how it should be done. They should be just worried about it needs to be done, and it'll be this product will be there to help them. This is on a very high level, 30,000 feet overview. If we go in deep, I'm pretty sure though it'll be a couple of hours just into that. But yeah, I think this is we can go into in depth in one of the upcoming sessions.
Yeah, I think that's the idea here is we're going to be doing a multi-part series tackling the different types from the continuous integration, continuous delivery, deployment, and some specific solutions. So we're going to be tackling those. I'm excited to actually partake in those types of series as we go. Excellent.
Great.
So I think what we've done is on the results part, we did mention a lot of the different types of things that we've dealt with. So I know when we talked about some of the results that we had when we started implementing some of these changes. Some of them are in progress and some of them already applied. Uh, so anything to add, Gagan, in here? Any points?
No, I think for now, like as you said, right, there are some streams which are in progress. So we have put them here, and we definitely want to share those with the community. We want to share our experience, whatever we have learned, because technology is changing at a rapid pace. It's just you know that, right? And it's always new day, new product, right? And whatever we have learned, we want to share it with the community. And for now, whatever we are working on is covered here.
Great. So, Dodi and Guyan, you've covered some really interesting points in today's presentation. So we went over what SRE is, some of the challenges that many IT firms face, and even solutions that iVedha is implementing to tackle these challenges. But now we kind of want to know what iVedha has going on and some of the projects that you guys are working on, and what's next for iVedha.
Yeah, and for that, you'll have to go to the next part series. But what's next for here on? Again, what we mentioned before, we're going to be tackling a lot of the community events as well. So we're going to have some interactive labs. We're trying to set up some of that labs again. I know it was successful back in 2016 on the meetups. It did have some successes on the events that we've organized, and we wanted to continue that going forward. And we had a brand new website where we're constantly pumping a lot of helpful resources there. And this is what we're going to be doing a lot of times. So I'm hoping that the next part series, we are going to be tackling live demos too. Live demos and pre-recorded demos. It depends on the different topics that we're going to be covering. So just stay tuned.
Great. So thank you everyone for joining us at today's webcast. Make sure you guys stay tuned for the upcoming webcast to see live demos and to learn more about what iVedha has going on. So yeah, thank you, Dodi and Gagan.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.